As a booktube review, I'm going to be talking about the book I just finished today called Everything is Illuminated by Jonathan Safran Foer. This book, I know for sure that I did not like it, but the reasons I didn't like it are a little, I'm not exactly sure why. So the plot of it is, it's about a guy who is on a journey to try to find the woman who helped save his father from the Nazis during World War II. Which, of course, sounded interesting to me, which is why I read it. But the way it was executed did not convey the story exactly like that. So the book is broken up into certain parts. Part of it is the history of this one town and some of the people in it. Other parts of the book are told from the point of view of the Ukrainian guide who is the translator for the man on the journey, and it's told from his perspective, so it's pretty much telling the trip as it goes. Another part of the book is talking about the main character's grandfather. So my first problem is that I thought this was going to be nonfiction, but then I find out it's loosely based fiction, I guess. Like, yes, the author of the story went on a journey to the Ukraine to find the woman who saved his grandfather, but the trip didn't go down that way. There was no translator like this. I think a lot of the backstory leading up to his grandfather's life that is talked about in great detail in the back, I don't think that actually happened. Like, a lot of the characters are invented in the story, and so I felt a little cheated by that. The other part that kind of bothered me was that the translator who was telling parts of the story, he was using a thesaurus to translate, so some of the words were, like, mismatched a little bit. Like, instead of saying the person sleeping, he said manufacturing Z's, and instead of signing stuff sincerely, he was like guilelessly. So there was a little bit of a translation-ish gap that bothered me at first, and it didn't bother me so much later. But I do feel like it took away from the story and what was going on, and didn't allow you to really be immersed in what was happening. And also, part of that, another thing that bothered me was the structure of the writing. Like, sometimes, and I realize that for me, when I read stuff, I don't really read stuff that critically. I kind of lose points for that because I don't really get into the deeper meaning of stuff, or sometimes that even means I don't really find things funny that other people normally would, because I don't really, I don't know, I don't immerse myself like that in the story. I'm just kind of like there watching. It's weird. But there's some stuff that I could tell was supposed to, it was written the way it was to be funny, and some of the stuff I did laugh at, but the style just wasn't my cup of tea. And I feel like that also robbed from the story. Another thing that I thought kind of took away from the story was that he kind of talked about stuff from the past a little bit too in depth, and it kind of took away from the story I was more interested in. Like, he talked about like the history of the town and how it came to be, and about his grandfather's sexual escapades. Those boiled down to not being that important at the end of those chunks of the story. And then when you did get to the part of the story that was like the interesting part of finding this woman, it kind of was anticlimactic. But she kind of was like, oh, I didn't really help him that much, and I just like fed him, and I gave him a bath or whatever. And she kept going back and forth saying that that wasn't the same woman, so you really don't know whether or not this woman is the woman that helped save his grandfather in the first place, which was kind of annoying to me. The parts I did actually like was some of the trip was funny, and I did like the way some of the more heartfelt portions of the book were revealed, and I did like the more heartfelt portions of the book, like the relationship between the translator and his grandfather becoming closer, and some of the parts when they were talking about they didn't really talk about the Holocaust itself, but when the Nazis came into the town and started destroying everything, those parts I liked because it really showed how awful things were, and it was like a really horrible, but at the same time well-written account of what was going on. So I did like that. As a whole, I really did not like this book, though. I was very disappointed. And I read Jonathan Safran Foer. He wrote Eating Animals, and that has really shaped my views about the way I view a lot of things, and also about my diet. So I was expecting this to be really good, especially because the plot sounded like it was going to be really good. But it turned out, for me personally, it was not my cup of tea. And I know other people have liked it, but I did not. So that's my review of Everything is Illuminated. Feel free to leave comments and let me know how you felt about the book, and if you think that I'm an idiot or whatever, that's okay. We're all allowed our own opinions. Hope you enjoyed it. Love you guys. Bye!